we go. We are so honored to have our next guest join us on the main stage, and we're going to make this an interactive Q&A, so get your questions ready. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm Birmingham welcome to Peter Capaldi. Let's hear it for Peter Capaldi, Comic-Con Midlands. Got a lovely Oprah couch set up for you here, sir.
Hi there. Hello, everyone.
Peter Capaldi, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for him one more time. What an honor. First of all of your adoring fans here in Birmingham are so excited to see you, myself included. How has the con been going for you so far?
It's lovely. I've been in a con for a while, so it's great to get out and meet people and just be reminded of how important this show is to folks and that it has a special place in their hearts. So it's nice to share that with people.
Absolutely. Thank you for making memories with us here in beautiful Birmingham. Now, out of the entire roster we have here at Comic-Con Midlands, was there anybody that you were excited to see again or excited to meet for the first time?
Well, I'm always excited to see David Bradley.
Yes.
He was here yesterday, and Sylvester McCoy showed up, so they were cool to see. So I like meeting them.
Yes.
And there's always new friends to meet. But there are so many shows that I can't keep track of everybody.
I know.
And also people look quite different in real life from the way they look on the telly. Apart from me, maybe.
Yes, there are so many genres represented here. We have, you know, Harry Potter, Star Wars, Star Trek. What are you a fan of? Is there a specific genre that speaks to you?
I love good drama, and that can be in sci-fi or horror or comedy or any of those things, you know. When I was growing up, I obviously loved Doctor Who and horror movies. I loved horror movies, and still do. So that's my kind of go-to zone, really.
Can you tell us some of your favorite horror movies?
Well, I like, The Exorcist obviously is it's a very successful horror movie in the sense that it's quite scary. But I quite like those old Hammer horror movies with Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee and Dracula stories and I think they're more like fairy tales. They don't terrify me, but I enjoy watching them.
We have a lot of creatives in the audience, a lot of aspiring young actors, aspiring musicians. Can you tell us your earliest memories of wanting to be in those industries?
I couldn't really articulate what I wanted to do. I still can't really. But when I was a kid, my parents always made sure I had bits of paper and pens and coloured crayons around because they knew that I drew. And when I was very young, I remember I made from a shoebox, I pulled the front off of a shoebox and I drew inside the shoebox the walls of a television studio. And then I built a little stage out of cardboard and I made this was at a time when like the Beatles were just out, so that was a long time ago. And I made little cutout John, Paul, George Ringos and put them on the stage. And that was really emulating, there was a show we used to have on TV called Ready, Steady, Go, in which the pop stars would appear. And the way they did it, which was, I think, a copy of American shows, was they let you see the studio walls, and they let you see the other cameras moving around. So I was copying that show. So I think I just, from a very early age, wanted to be part of this creative world, but I didn't know which bit of it, really, I wanted to be. So I was putting everything in there, the music, the filmmaking, the acting.
Your career spans a lot of those different areas, which is very exciting. Now, when we talk about your musical stylings, who are your musical inspirations?
Well, obviously, David Bowie and Talking Heads and Frank Sinatra and Taylor Swift and all kinds of people. I like anybody who's good, I like, yeah. But when I was at art school, and that was at the time when punk just exploded in 1976. So obviously the first time I heard the Sex Pistols, that was amazing. Because prior to that, particularly if you were going to art school, we were all a bit sort of hippie-ish and kind of listened to Neil Young, who I love, and dressed like Neil Young with long hair and kind of cheesecloth shirts and stuff. And then in the summer break, punk happened. And so we all changed our look and we came back with peroxide hair and wearing bin bags. People say to me, what do you mean wearing a bin bag? It's because in those days you couldn't buy sort of punky things. And we were in Glasgow, obviously in Scotland. So people would get, in order to emulate a kind of Vivienne Westwood rubber or vinyl top, they'd just get a black bin bag, cut a neck hole in it, and put it on, and cut armholes in it. I didn't do that, but other kids did that.
I wish we had photos of that era with the peroxide hair. We love that. Well, we have a lot of fans here that have questions for you, Mr. Capaldi. If you have a question, oh, I knew it. He is ready for you.
Hello.
Please feel free to introduce yourself, and if you need to move that mic down, you go ahead. Rock star, he's got it. Thank you.
Right. Oh.
Hello, how are you doing? We've met before. It's nice to see you. We did some good pictures, didn't we?
Yeah.
We were very cool. Now let's slow down now and think about your question. What would you like to ask me?
So, what companion did you prefer, Clara or Bill?
K9. And they're both lovely, so I don't make. Oh, there's my coffee. Thank you very much. Thank you.
That service.
Yeah. No, they're both great companions. So I loved all my companions.
Great question. Thank you so much. Round of applause. He approached that microphone with such alacrity. He was ready for you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Tricky question. I hope you're going to ask that to all the other doctors. Hello there.
Hi Peter.
Hi.
My question is, when Doctor Who comes back, would you ever be interested in working on an episode behind the scenes, like writing, directing, producing, or even operating a Dalek?
No, maybe operating a Dalek back before. Although that looks quite hard work. Having seen them do it, I think that's quite tough. No, I think I love being involved in the show. I love the show, but it's a hard show to make. You know, really from a professional point of view, it's really, it has to be a labor of love because it takes so much energy out of people. And I mean, I don't know what it's like in the Disney era, but certainly when we did it, there wasn't enough money to go around. There wasn't enough time. I quite like that. I quite like not having enough money and enough time, but you have to have a certain youthful zest about you to have that as your life. So, no, I'd rather just, I just look forward to seeing what they're going to do with it, which I'm sure will be wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you. It's kind of you.
Thank you so much. Look at this amazing house
Oh, look
today.
at you. You're amazing. Hello. Nice to see you.
Woman yesterday.
That's right. Well, you've transformed today.
So our question is, who would you love to see be the Doctor? For us, we think Jack Black would be really good, or a total curveball of Jeremy Clarkson.
Jeremy Clarkson. I don't know.
I did a thing!
Yeah. I think Steve Martin would be very good. Or Martin Short. I think really they should just get someone nobody knows. I mean, the world is full of the most incredible actors. And a lot of the actors who played Doctor Who were not well known. You know, Tom Baker was working on a building site. You know, he wasn't, although he was successful in movies and stuff like that, he wasn't a household name. So I think to pluck somebody out of nowhere, indeed, he looks great, he'd be fantastic. What's your name again? It's a good name.
Logie.
Logie, that's right. Yeah, that's a cool name. Well, maybe it should be Logie. I like that look too. But it's nothing to do with me.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Dr. Logie, thank you so much. And Supergirl, hey there.
Hi there.
So my question is there any director that you've worked with or watched that's particularly influenced your acting style?
Well, the ones that I've worked with all influence me because they can see what I'm doing and sometimes it's terrible, and how they decide to tell me it's good, bad or indifferent is part of their professionalism. But they often teach me. I've worked with a lot of people in the theatre who've taught me more about acting because they've taken me aside and said to me, this is how you do it, not the way you're doing it, do it this way. And the same on TV as well. There are directors who are very good at teaching you, but you know, it's not their job to teach you. It's their job to deliver this program. And as I've indicated about the pressure that there is to make the show within a certain amount of time, they busy themselves doing that as opposed to teaching the actors how to act. But they all teach you because they're largely very gifted people. Good question.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Hi there.
Hello. I hope I don't forget my question.
That's okay, don't worry about it.
You were in bands when you were younger, and now that you've come back to music, recording and performing again, is there anything that has surprised you? Like if you compare back then to now, either recording or playing live?
Well, when I was young, we were just all, none of us could really, in the excitement of the punk explosion, the whole idea was you didn't have to be able to play particularly well. So all of us, myself included, couldn't really play guitar very well or know a lot of chords and stuff. So, but we did our best and we had fun. This time around, I find myself working with people who can really play. So that's quite terrifying. But also, it's wonderful because it makes me work harder and try and fit in with them. I think also when you're young, I didn't really have a work ethic. I would just throw songs together and think that would be fine. And that really sort of doesn't work when you're this age and you have a group of professional musicians. You have to actually try and come up with songs that have a shape and have a chorus. A chorus would be useful. So I spend a lot more time on that side of things than I did before. But it's all fun, you know, I'm not doing it because I want to be a pop star or anything. I'm just doing it because I really like playing music. We did a tour. Deborah was there a lot, and we saw a lot of fans and people came to the show, a lot of people who hadn't been to gigs before, who perhaps knew me from Doctor Who, came, and a lot of music fans, which is fantastic. And just doing that live thing is lovely. It's just a very exciting thing to do.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Good question. Hey there.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hope you guys are well.
Thank you.
My question kind of involves Doctor Who and like your time with Doctor Who in terms of like how the 12th Doctor kind of develops throughout the three series. So I think it's quite like an interesting way because throughout the series he kind of becomes a lot more like soft-hearted or like more like open and more like in a more goofy and kind sense. My kind of question is, how much input did you have in that process when the show, when that series was being written, and like what did you feel like, basically like how much input did you really have in that development of the Doctor?
This is a really interesting question. I don't really know that I had a huge amount of influence because the scripts come to you and they are what they are, and the gags are what they are, and the dramatic bits are what they are. So you've got to figure out a way to do that, and you're under a lot of pressure and there isn't much time. I just knew from the start that I wanted to be, you know, I loved Matt and David and Chris as well, but I wanted to be harder and more distant. So that, because I felt that that was an element of the Doctor that had sort of vanished, because he was so open and friendly and everybody loved him and stuff like that. That's okay, but I think it's, the Doctors I grew up with were slightly, a little more scarier. So I wanted to reintroduce that element. But at the same time, I wanted it to be funny too. So it was hard trying to find that balance, and it took me a while to find quite how to do that. But Stephen Moffat, I think, is an absolutely brilliant writer and has a total grasp of the whole thing. And I think he had ideas about how this Doctor should develop in a certain way. So you go with that, because my job as an actor is just to tell the story that the writer's written. It's not to do something that I've come up with. It's to tell that story. So that's what I try to do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very interesting question so far. Great job. Hi there.
Hi.
Hi, Mr. Capaldi. It's so great to see you today.
Call me Peter. What's your name?
Hi, Peter. I'm Anusha.
Hi, Anush.
Hi. So, big fan of your work. I was just wondering how fun it would be if Mr. Curry from Paddington was a companion to your doctor. What do you think it would be like?
I think that would be a very grim combination, don't you? I think that would be a very miserable time on I think the ratings would really plummet.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's fun.
You're welcome.
Hey there.
Look at you, you look so cool.
It's your outfit, so
Well, it's your hair.
that's very true. It's very river inspired.
Yeah.
I had a question about Heaven Sent Hellbent. Widely revered as one of your best, and I would agree with that. But some people really disliked Hellbent because they felt that the Doctor was out of character. When I watched Heaven Sent, I realised that the Doctor was being tortured by his own species for millennia. Was that the impetus behind Hellbent, or was it the loss of Clara?
Explain to me why people think the last one is out of character.
I think it was because...
Why people think that?
Yeah, like I say, only what I'd seen was to do with the fact that he did actually shoot a Time Lord in that one.
Yeah, I think he's absolutely driven to save Clara.
Okay, it's Clara.
And he will do anything at all to get her back. And he kind of loses himself to that obsession and loses control. So I think it was good. I think it was. It also allowed us to have the first female regeneration, which people don't seem to remember. But that was the first time it ever happened under the pen of Stephen Moffat. And the Doctor is, and I like this idea that he's not just this. He's not the same all the time. That his character is changing and moving, and his connection with her was so powerful, and also the responsibility he felt. I think all the companions, I mean, someone like Clara, they become a conduit for all the companions, and for all the losses, and for all the pain. Because the Doctor doesn't exist just in that story. At the same time, he's in all those other stories, and he's with all of those other people at the same time. And at the same time, those emotions are swirling and moving inside him. And on that occasion, he was overwhelmed by the need to save his loved ones. So I don't think it was out of character.
Well, I'm really glad you cleared that up.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. No, that was brilliant. Thank you.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you.
So appreciate your insight. It's fascinating. Hi.
Hi, just a nice quick question, hopefully. Can we look forward to any 12th Doctor audio stories with Big Finish anytime soon?
I don't think so. I mean, the reason I don't do these things and don't go back to Doctor Who is because I love Doctor Who. And I just think to continually be... It's not a judgment on anybody else who does it, and, you know, I may well next year change my mind, or next month change my mind. But I like the idea that he's not here doing audiobooks. He's out there, somewhere,
Yeah, that makes it special.
you know. But next year I might change my mind.
Stay tuned, right? Thank you.
Hi there.
Hello. You and Jenna Coleman were my favourite TARDIS team, always have been. Do you have a favourite scene between you and Clara?
Well, I think they're all great. I mean, you know, I have favourite scenes because she was so funny, and there's stuff that you didn't see that we had a good time when we were doing it. I do really like when we have that thing when we're erasing memories, and I'm trying to erase her memories, and she's trying to raise it, because it was very, we knew that was the end of the road. There was no coming back from what was going to happen there. And Jenna's very, she's a very emotional actress. She has this very sort of slightly kind of beautiful kind of porcelain quality, and then suddenly her eyes will fill with tears, and you realize that there's whole waves of emotion going on there, which will be released, which she can do. I can't do that, but she can do it at the drop of a hat. So I liked that scene because I think that touched upon their closeness and had an emotional depth. It's hard to be a companion, you know, because they have to be sort of training after the doctor and say, doctor, what's happening, get me out of here, blah, blah, blah. And at the same time, they're making this very deep kind of emotional connection with the doctor character. And they're going through these traumas in their own life. So there's a whole lot of stuff going on, but there isn't always written for them to express that. So they have to bring that, and she really did that. So that was a nice scene, I like that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
Hello.
Hi. I just want to say thank you so much for Doctor being so amazing in that, and just thank you so much. I'm really interested in filming locations, and I was wondering what was your favourite filming location around Cardiff or abroad that you filmed Doctor Who?
Well, it was strange when we went to Lanzarote, because to do Kill the Moon, which was set on the moon, I thought, this is odd, why are we going to Lanzarote? And in fact, because it's a volcanic island, it has had centuries ago, there were volcanoes blowing up there and spewing out lava onto these great plains and mountains, which of course is exactly what happened on the moon. So when you actually get there and go to a remote part of it, it actually looks like the moon, except the sky is blue. So they just put a black sky in. And it was good, and also I liked to see the trauma that it causes people to be walking around in spacesuits in sweltering heat. I think that's great to see the whole palaver going on with you know, the crew have all got shorts on, and everything else is in layers of rubber. So that was fun.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Great fun questions. Hi there, how are you?
Hi, how you doing?
Hi. In the episode Husbands of River Song, there's a scene where the doctor goes, "Finally, it's my go." How did you feel about doing that scene?
Oh, I thought that was great. It was a great comic idea, you know, and I think it was wonderful that he just delivered all the cliches that people would say. And you know, it's the kind of, again, it's the kind of thing only Stephen could have come up with, which was recognizing that there was a potentially wonderful comic speech you could have if you gave it to the right person, if you gave it to the doctor as opposed to everyone else. And he was just recounting all the people who had gone through that palaver with him every time, and he was rather bored with it as well. So it was great for him, because I never thought I'd get to do that. Oh, it's bigger than the inside, because the doctor doesn't usually say that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi.
My question's about Torchwood, the Children of Earth one. So, in that, you know, the 4, 5, 6 is defeated by Jack killing his grandson, and I was kind of wondering how your doctor would defeat the 4, 5, 6, if you could.
Excellent question. I think he would have figured out that there was something in a way of neutralizing that tank to which they appeared, from which their powers were emanating. I think he would have, as they always do, either he finds a very clever way, or it's a very simple way, like pulling out the plug somewhere. So he would have found a way to pull out the plug, I think.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, how you doing?
Got it.
Hello.
Hello.
Stephen Moffat wanted to keep the Christmas slot, which ended up being the final episode. Were you happy with that being your regeneration story, or would you rather have left your Doctor in the Doctor Falls?
Well, that's a good question because the truth is, most, making episodic television, which is what we're doing, and it just happens to be Doctor Who, is a job, and the job you are given is you've got to deliver 12 episodes by September, and that takes everybody's energy to get on with that. So we knew that I would be ending, and we did not expect to be doing a Christmas special. But I'm not sure whether I don't know what the ins and outs of it were, but I think perhaps the other team weren't quite ready to take over. So we had to create another story. So I suppose in my heart of hearts, I think The Doctor Falls was really the end of the story, but the demands of episodic television, which is, me doing my job, was to do another episode. I was delighted to do another episode. It was great, and it was great to be around David Bradley and to be Doctor Who again. But I felt it sort of had to, if you do the Christmas episode, it has a sort of there's a certain amount of boxes that have to be ticked, and I keep going back to the old show because that's how I grew up. There was no Christmas episodes. If there was a reference to Christmas, that was amazing, but it wasn't on Christmas Day, so that just became a thing in the new show. And I think it burdens it with a certain kind of, it's got to have snow, and that's quite funny as you're filming it in August, and you have to go into a room like this that's covered in snow, with the TARDIS in, and the snow machines, and outside it's roasting. But that's fun too. But yeah, I think ultimately probably the most, the story really comes to an end. The end of the Doctor Falls. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so
Good
much.
question.
Wonderful question. We have time for just a few more. Hi.
Hi there.
So my question is a bit more simple one, really. Obviously, in your time as a Doctor, you faced a lot of different enemies of the Doctors, some old, some new. Was there any particular foes that you wanted to face whilst you were the Doctor?
I always liked. I always want to go back to the old show and say, can't we do something from the old show, but do it with the money that we've got, and with digital effects and the more skilled kind of latex work and stuff we could do. I'd always love to have done, some kind of return to the claws of Axos, because the Axons were such great monsters, and also I would love to have done a return to the web planet, so that we could have, Zarbies and Menoptera, who are actually quite beautiful and quite kind of very wonderful examples of craft and budgetary restriction, but we could have done them in a more terrifying sort of way. So yeah, Axons or Zarbi, or I liked also I would like to have faced like old Daleks, because it's funny, Doctor Who the Daleks are always the latest version, and sometimes we have a smattering of the old ones, but I would like to have got, I think if they're following a timeline, then you could land in a time, for instance, Daleks' invasion of Earth, when there'd be all those old Daleks. So if the Doctor arrived at that time. I also think it would be fun to do, I would have liked to have done the Day of the Daleks, but because the time zone's moving around all the time, that the 12th Doctor and Clara could have joined that and tried to help out John Pertwee and Katie Manning. That would have been fun. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You.
Thank you.
Hi.
I wanted to ask, do you have a favourite episode, like across the whole 60 years of the show? And also, do you have a favourite episode that you were in, either because you liked filming it or the end product?
Excellent question. I have lots of favourite episodes, and I change my mind about favourite episodes all the time. So I would say okay, this will change all the time. I love from the classic show, I love episode 6 of Frontier in Space, because Frontier in Space is quite a long and kind of bulky show, but the very last episode, the Master arrives with the Daleks, you know, which is a surprise, and the Doctor is knocked out and contact